What are you saw where it said what it is, right? On the box?
Yes.
Okay. Are we unmuted now?
And can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, loud and clear. Let's go.
Lewis. Okay, we called the meeting to order as of 7:02, and Egypt's gonna call roll call right now. Present. Not here yet.
Present. Angela.
Here, present. No Amy yet.
Vincent.
Present.
Stephanie.
Present.
Fabiola. Juana.
Present.
Ethan.
He's on Zoom.
Okay.
Present.
He's not, Stephen is not here.
And Ben.
Okay, so we do not currently have quorum for any voting yet. So we're gonna start off with a presentation regarding the capital plan, and we have Julie Kim that's joining us.
Hi, can you all hear me? Hello.
Speak up a second, Julie, because we can't hear you.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, loud and clear. Just want to make sure you guys are able to hear me clearly.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. My name is Julie, and I am the External Affairs Manager for Queens North at the School Construction Authority. Before I begin, I want to also introduce the Director of External Affairs, who is also on the call here, Yvette Knight. And I also see, I think the Deputy Director of Facilities, William Leroy, is also on this call, I believe.
I am.
Okay, great. So just wanted to make sure that I introduce both of those folks. And earlier today, we sent over some brochures just for you to look at. A couple of them are the minority-owned, women-owned local business enterprises brochure, the IEH brochure, which is about how we remediate environmental issues, our public art and public schools brochure, as well as the SCA operations deck that we presented to CECs last month. Um, okay, so I'll get started on sharing the capital plan November amendment. Let me know if you can see my screen. Is this working?
Yes, now you're good.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So first, I want to introduce the SCA. We are the city agency that is dedicated to building and modernizing public schools that are safe, attractive, and environmentally sound for children throughout the many communities of New York City. Today, I am going to be going over the November 2025 amendment, specifically tailored to CEC 25. This is the 5-year capital plan overview. So on the agenda today, we have the overview of the November amendment to the 5-year capital plan. We'll start off with some plan highlights. We'll talk about the capacity program, capital improvement, Reso A, the MWLBE program, CEC priority project requests, and we will then open up the floor for any questions and comments afterwards. So the November 2025 amendment to the 5-year capital plan, which was adopted to a total amount of 20.9 billion. The programs are categorized under 4 buckets. So we have the capacity bucket, which is 6.98 billion. These are projects that create new seats that are necessary to allow for expansion of our school system. So this includes things like new school construction, annexes, and room conversions. Then we have the healthy schools at 2.3 billion. This new category focuses on the well-being of students by improving athletic fields, cafeteria enhancements, and efforts to create a more sustainable city by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Then we have the capital improvement portion of at 7.92 billion, and this will improve and update our infrastructure in existing school buildings. Then we have mandated at 3.72 billion, and these are projects that are required by local law or city agency mandates and other required elements like insurance and building code compliance. Some citywide highlights include new capacity, which I touched on briefly at 6.13 billion. This program is intended again to allocate new seats and create new seats where they are needed. We have electrification at 1.4 billion, and this initiative began in October 2022. Under Mayor's Adam, he announced the start of transitioning all public schools to operate on electric power, and the goal is to electrify existing school buildings. Technology is at 1.25 billion, and these projects include increasing the bandwidth for Wi-Fi and updating old communication systems. Accessibility at 800 million. These projects include adding ramps, elevators, and ensuring that students with disabilities all have access to school amenities. Physical education space upgrades at 40 million. This category improves on existing gyms or multi-purpose rooms and creates new spaces for physical education. Cafeteria enhancement experience at 150 million, and this category focuses on improving dining experience through upgrades and modernizations. So the capacity program, which we talked a little bit about, but that's at 6.98 billion. What encompasses under capacity program? Again, we talked about new capacity, so that's building new seats, right? The replacement program is also under the capacity program at 400 million, and this program provides funding for replacement sites for schools that must vacate their current locations, largely due to lease terminations. We also have capacity to support TCU removal at 200 million. This program's goal is to remove temporary structures that have been used as learning spaces and to also create seats. Playground redevelopment at 51 million. After removing a temporary structure, we renovate the area into a playground. And early education at 200 million. This funds our continued effort to incorporate the ACS early learning sites transferred into the DOE portfolio. So that was a bit of an overview of the capital plan for the city. And so I'm going to transition into some of the District 25 capacity highlights. As you can see here, we have three capacity projects in this district. The first one is JHS 25, and that is a room conversion project, which will add 119 seats. And that's anticipated occupancy of September 2026. And then we have two elementary schools currently being built. The first one is at Water's Edge near Bay Terrace, and that will create a total of 547 seats, anticipated opening in 2027. And then we also have an elementary school that is projected to create 696 streets. This is in kind of near Queens Botanical Garden area with anticipated opening September 2028. And we also have created a total of 192 District 75 seats. So 96 at the Water's Edge and 96 at 45th Avenue site. Capital improvement projects. So these are projects that improve and upgrade existing buildings, and these are large infrastructure projects that have a long-term investment to the school and are above $50,000. This is a really important category because we have about 1,600 school facilities, and half of which are older than 85 years. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how does a project become a capital improvement project. The first method is through BCAS report, which is the Building Condition Assessment Survey. Every year, a building condition assessment survey is completed for each school building, and that includes ratings of 1 through 5 for architectural, electrical, and mechanical components of the building. So anything that's rated 1 or 2 is in good condition. And then our planned projects focus on items rated 4 and 5. You can actually find this report on the DOE website by searching for your school and then opening the school's profile page. If you look at the reports tab under facilities, you will see the BCAS report for the year. I highly recommend you actually look at this report for any schools that you're interested in looking at because it's very comprehensive and it actually has photos and it's kind of shows you all the different components that are part of the school and what it's rated. Next, we have the DSF reported issues. And as a reminder, DSF, which is the Division of School Facilities, we also have the Deputy Director of Division of Schools Facilities here today. And they are a separate agency that we work hand in hand in. But DSF are the folks like the custodial engineers and the DDF. And they're on the ground, usually at the schools, making the daily repairs and maintenance necessary to keep the school running. However, there will be projects that, might be above their threshold to repair, and that is something that we work with them on. So it gets turned over to the SCA. So that's another way that capital improvement projects can get created. Then we have mandated repairs, and these repairs include things like asbestos remediation, lead paint abatement, and other projects that are required by local law or city agency mandates. And it also funds the building condition assessment survey that I was just talking about, that's completed each year. Then we have the Reso A funded projects. These are specific projects that are funded by members of the City Council and Borough President Office or individual grants. And this is an opportunity for you to, ask your elected officials to fund specific projects you like to see as well. And of course, we have the yearly CEC request, which is also taken into consideration as well in terms of creating a capital improvement project. Some of these projects include things like exterior masonry, windows, parapets, flood elimination, roof replacements, accessibility, playgrounds, auditoriums, and gymnasium upgrades. I'm going to talk a little bit about District 25 capital improvement project highlights. Again, these are just the highlights. There's an ongoing list if you look at the capital plan, which is located on the School Construction Authority website under capital plan. You can look at the amendment for the most recent capital plan, and there's going to be a full ongoing list of the projects that are happening. And capital improvement projects, focus on the safety and well-being of the school and the students. And a lot of it does focus on making sure that these buildings that are, a lot of which are over 85 years old, are watertight and making sure that water does not get into the school and doesn't deteriorate the interiority of the school as well. And so that's a lot of the projects that you see here in terms of like the parapets, the roofs, the windows, and exterior masonry. That's a lot of what's behind the thinking of the capital improvement projects. But there are also things like the surveillance camera installation in terms of safety. And yeah, so these are just some of the highlights of the projects that are happening in your district. So Reso A projects are capitally eligible school-specific capital improvements or enhancement projects that are funded by New York City elected officials, such as your city council member or your borough president. They're a complement to our capital plan, and the Reso A projects usually fund projects that we don't have the budget for, and we recommend that you speak to your elected officials about it, and we are super grateful to them for their funding. How does Reso A budget? What is the timeline for it? So in January through March, elected officials contact schools to identify potential projects. This is also a good time for you to reach out to your elected officials if you have a project in mind or want to talk to them about a specific project. May through June is when city budget negotiations and approvals happen. Then in July, the city fiscal year starts. The summer is when schools are notified of any Reso A funding by their sponsor. Late fall, early spring is when the SCA receives the final budget authorization from the Office of Management and Budget. And then 1 month following OMB approval is when SCA begins project scope and design process, and schools are contacted by their project team. These are some of the District 25 Reso A highlights. You can see they fund projects like auditorium upgrades, electrical, library, playgrounds, and science labs. So these are some of the categories that you can think of in terms of potentially reaching out to your council member about Reso A funding. MWLBE, SCA is dedicated to increasing participation of minority-owned, women-owned, and locally based business enterprises on SCA projects, including through MWLB targets on our projects. We also run a mentor program which provides support and access to capital and business opportunities for qualified emerging MWLBEs. For District 25, in fiscal year 2025, SCA has awarded 42 million in prime contracts for capital improvement project work to 4 MWLBE firms at 4 projects. And this represents 42% of all contracts for the capital improvement projects work in School District 25. The CEC priority project request, you all should have received this form, but it's basically an annual submission. Each November, CECs are asked to complete a form that identifies their top 5 priority projects in their district. These forms are due in mid-January and emailed to cinput@nycsca.org. In terms of consultation and review, we recommend that you, one, review the capital eligibility guidelines, ensuring that project meets thresholds determined by NYC Comptroller and enforced by OMB. A good resource for this would also be the SCA operations deck that we sent out to you all earlier today. That will have some of the eligibility guidelines, such as, it has to be a long-term investment into the school, as well as over the $50,000 threshold. We also recommend that you review the capital plan, identifying what planned projects are already funded in the district. Then also, we recommend identifying a program in the capital plan that the project might be classified under. So whether it's capacity, funding, creation of new seats, or a capital improvement project. We also recommend that you review the projects with the custodial engineer or DSF to make sure that, if it's a maintenance item or repair item, then that would not fall under our guidelines. We also recommend that you consult principals about the projects to ensure agreement on priorities. So submission guidelines, we ask that you prioritize 5 projects on the request form. Again, a reminder that SCA does major capital renovations only. And so for any building maintenance or projects that are ineligible, principals can request repairs from custodians or the Division of School Facilities. The capital plan presentation, such as the one I'm giving today, is annual. So we do this every year to provide an overview of any changes to the plan and highlight specific projects and funding in each district. Again, you can find the full capital plan on the SCA website, and you can see a list of running projects that are happening in your district. Again, today's presentation is not for reviewing or discussing individual CEC requests or submissions, but is provided as an overview of the amendment to the capital plan. So this is our contact information. Again, I'm the External Affairs Manager. Please feel free to reach out to me or email me if you have any questions. And we have the External Affairs Director, Yvette Knight, who's also on this call. If you have any Reso-A related questions, a good person to reach out to would be Brian McGinn, whose contact information is also here. And then in terms of the CEC project request forms, this is the email address where you send them, and you should have also received the form from cinput@nycsca.org. So that concludes the presentation, and I will open it up for questions.
Okay. I'm gonna start with a question real quick, and then I'm gonna see if anyone else has any questions. We have this conversation year after year, and I know your comment at the end was like, there's no specific questions like CEC requests, but we tend to go back and forth between what actually is facilities and what is SCA, because every time we do submit something to SCA, then we've heard back like, oh, it wasn't approved because it should go through facilities, or facility says, no, it has to go through SCA. And we get that piggyback every single year. So we end up submitting projects, and every time we've submitted projects, none of them have been chosen to actually be done.
So is the question
There a question?
how to differentiate? Sorry, Yvette, did you want to hop in?
No, I wanted to know, is there a question?
That is like really, we try to figure out like where do we draw that line of differentiation?
So, as was mentioned in the presentation, the line is at $50,000, but there are also items that are definitely maintenance. And again, I recommend you review your list with the Division of School Facilities or the DDF to determine if it could be a maintenance item. The deck that we had presented to you recently details that there has to be a threshold of 50,000 and also that it has to be something that has a life of about 5 years for a building. And we also gave you examples of maintenance things. So painting a room is more of a condition to be handled by DSF. Fixing a bathroom is a DSF issue. And so again, the recommendation is for you to review that list with your DDF.
Hi,
Do you
Bill
have a
Leroy here.
specific condition that you'd like to ask me about or ask us about, and we can kind of give you a sense of what it would
Well,
look
I
like?
think Bill Leroy was also chiming in
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
respond with
Hi,
detail.
hi, good evening. I was going to ask you if you had specifics. Maybe I can shed some light.
So, yeah,
Mhm.
thanks, Bill. I know we've talked about this in past years, but the bathroom upgrades that keep coming up over and over again,
Mhm.
Right.
schools year after
So,
year after year.
so bathroom upgrades, generally, if the entire bathroom is going to be renovated, it is either an SCA project or a Reso A. Um, DSF is responsible for maintenance. So if you have a broken faucet, a broken toilet, things of that nature, that's what we address. But when it's a total renovation, it's usually something that either the local politician can help you with or the SCA.
Perfect.
I
Thank
hope
you.
that answers your question.
Yes, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else?
And I just wanted to tell you that I don't know, Julie, if you had sent out the updates to those requests from last year. Were you able to do that yet? Were you
We
able to?
actually did not receive any requests from D25
You
last
didn't
year.
get.
Yes, we
Yes,
definitely
we
sent
did.
them in.
Oh,
So
You
really?
sent you sent
No.
a request from the last time?
Last year, we submitted 5 for sure. I'd have to go back and look at which ones, but we definitely submitted it
Okay.
for that deadline.
So I'll jump in. So one of the school that I monitored last year is the same school. So I visited one more time and the principal stated that SCA never contact. So they need a whole auditorium seat upgrade. And that was one of the school that we chose last year. And SCA did not respond. So now my question is there any way that we could follow up on these schools that we submitted?
Can you so forgive me and Julie, we were under the impression there was not a submission.
Hmm.
So if you would be so kind as to resubmit to that email, Julie, can you put it in the chat? The C input
Yes, I can do that.
email.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, we will go back to our contact to find out what happened to that form because that was the information we
Mhm.
received.
I'll go back through my records.
And I have a question. So my main
Yes.
question is,
Uh-huh.
how can we follow up with SCA? The projects that we submitted, how can we follow up if any plan is going forward? They're saying we don't have them. No,
As we
the
said,
day, not this year. I
Yeah.
wanna know.
we're going to take this back to our contact. And if you do have a form that you did submit, we're going to leave an email in the chat. Can you resubmit that form? And we're going to have to go back to find out what happened to your request, ma'am, because our information is that we did not receive anything from your district.
I don't think that answers the more general question of how we're going to get updates on the request.
Yeah,
to submit.
that was the previous year, like Shanna said, from ongoing from here on, how can we follow up with these projects that we submitted? For example, we submitted for this year 3 schools. How can we follow up with the SCA?
In terms of an approval?
Yeah, so
or-
I think that the leading question is if they are identifying these 5 projects, how will they know whether or not those 5 projects are in fact going to be picked up for the following year? I'm assuming that's what you're getting at, Shirley. is-
We
And
do
if it's
send
not,
out,
will they be notified that, I'm sorry, these projects will not be picked up for?
we absolutely send out twice a preliminary response. And then we do send out a final response right at around the October timeframe. So we do when we have requests, we do send out responses to the requests.
3 years at least.
At least 2-3 years.
Yeah. Okay. Does anybody else on the council have questions? Anybody else have any comments? Okay. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening.
You as well.
To
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we are going to turn it over to Christina Sorrento from Food and Nutrition Services next. Yeah, I'm trying to find this one too. Getting it away.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Christina Sorrento, along with Mr. John Rizzo. We are both supervisors for the Office of Food and Nutrition Services for District 25. So which means we oversee all the school kitchens and cafeterias throughout all the schools in District 25, as well as not only the public schools, but charter schools, non-public schools, and public schools as well. So today we're just slide. So today we're here. Thank you for having us. We just wanted to expose ourselves and give you a little bit of an overview of our program. And also answer any questions at the end of our slide, if there's anything that we haven't covered about our program. So our overview today is going to be our school meal program, as well as the USDA National School Lunch Program, and our food and nutrition education, as well as our quality standards and our options, and then our food service careers. Our mission is equitably serving the New York City students a healthy, delicious meal, and nutrition to educate, experience, reflect their voices, and nourish them into adulthood. So throughout our organization, we have 35 menus citywide, from breakfast to lunch to vegetarian to the vegetarian menu, the snack programs, the supper programs. So a total of 35 menus citywide. We have 470 recipes that are created and followed throughout the city. So these recipes were created so that students are eating in Queens are tasting the same food item in the Bronx and in Manhattan. Just like when you go to McDonald's, they have a Big Mac and their special sauce. Wherever you travel from New York to New Jersey, that special sauce tastes the same. And that's what our goal is in our food and nutrition services. For the recipes, we have collaborated with students this year for the first time. We have two recipes that were created from Francis Lewis High School. And I may see District 26 PTA president here. I know we presented last month 2 recipes that were created from Francis Lewis High School. They have a culinary program in that school, and we have collaborated together with our organization, and they have created their own recipe, and that was taste tested throughout the city and incorporated into our menu. So one of them were the green cucumber salad, as well as the garlicky chicken and broccoli. We have 1,800 schools that we cater to. Okay, and that again is charter schools, private schools, non-public schools, Catholic schools, and New York City public schools. We have citywide 950,000 students. Out of the 950,000 plus students, we feed on a daily basis 900,000 meals a day between breakfast and lunch citywide. So we are the largest organization that provide a big volume of meals nationwide. We are one of the largest nationwide. So we have what's called a student taste testing. Any item that is on our menus daily have been approved by the students. On Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we have what's called a student taste testing trip. A principal can request for their school to come up. It's like a school trip. We set up the busing. It's about 35 students as well as maybe 5 or 6 administrators. They get on the bus 9:30 in the morning and return back to the school by 1:30. And vendors provide us with certain meals that they would like to try, items that the children will select and then try the item. If they like it, it moves on to other divisions, meaning from elementary to high school, middle school. So that makes sure that at all school levels, everybody likes that particular item. And then from there, it takes about a good year before that item gets on a menu because it goes through a lot of processing to make sure that we're following the standards, the food costing, the packaging. So students get to taste the items and approve it to go onto the menu. We just had yesterday, PS 79 was there yesterday. We had 185 that went in the beginning of October 22nd. And we have PS 130 going January 27th. So any principal that is interested or any student that is interested, just contact your principal or your school food service manager in your school. In each school, there is a cook in charge. And from a cook in charge, oversees is a manager. Manager has multiple schools. So either the cook or the manager or principal may be able to assist you with being nominated to the student taste testing. All of our breakfast menu item features seasonal fresh fruits. And of course, again, depending on what's the season, summer is always the best. We have our strawberries, and kiwi, and watermelon, and cantaloupe. Right now, we have pears, oranges, bananas, apples. We have our local dairy items, as well as local dairy items. We also have apples that come from upstate and our Jamaican beef patties that are also local vendors as well. All of our items are whole grains, low fat, high fiber, limited sugar items. So we don't use anything white, meaning white flour, into our products. No sugary free juice offered. We have eliminated sugar juice about 4 years ago now. It's been about 4 years that we haven't had juice into our menu. It's high with sugar, so we kind of eliminated that and incorporated more of the fresh fruits. Right? Various types of breakfast service that we have. So we have breakfast in the classroom. We have cafeteria service. So the breakfast in the classroom is for schools that don't have enough capacity in the cafeteria for all the students to eat breakfast. So we have what's called grab and go. And they take the meal at the door of entry and they go to their classrooms and they eat it in the classrooms. We have obviously cafeteria service, which starts before the school day. And then we have breakfast after the hour. So once school starts, whether it's 8 o'clock or whatever the time is, we serve breakfast all the way to the first lunch period. And the bell rings, breakfast is then over. But no child would ever be refused of a breakfast until the first lunch period. Okay. Our lunch menu features meatless Mondays. We have plant-powered options. We have no processed deli meats at all. We have locally sourced products, as I mentioned, one of them being the Jamaican beef patty, seasonal fresh fruits and vegetables daily. The multiple menu options are available. So if the student does not like what's on the menu for the day, there's always daily options. And we have, which is either a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a sun butter if they're allergic, sun butter and jelly. We have cheese sandwiches, and on every other day we may have tuna, and we have other options as our daily option. Oh, hummus and wrappers as well. On our menus, which are posted on our website, They will be identified V for vegan, vegetarian, and VE for vegan. So just if your child would like to know, that's where they would find it. The halal and kosher options are also available. And then we have a shared table and food donation program, and I'll get more of that into the next few slides. So our salad bars, fresh fruit and produce. We have over 1,000 schools citywide that have a salad bar. Our salad bar is always with fresh items. And again, they're all created recipes and the salads where it gives the children an opportunity to self-serve themselves. They can take as much as they want. All right, there's no limit to how much they can take on these salad bars. We have a plant-powered on the move. Last year, we had what's called plant-powered Fridays. What happened was that we had a lot of parents concerned that on Fridays, maybe their child was not eating, weren't into the plant-powered item. So we kind of like moved that around throughout the week so that it varies from day to day and it's offered throughout the week rather than just on Fridays. We also started last year a new nutrition collaborative program. It's in some of the certain schools this year. So what happens is that they partner up and receive a $10,000 grant for the next 5 years for a school that's selected and gets into the nutrition collaborative. What they do is with that money, the principal is allowed to allocate that money for cooking classes, for after school cooking classes, or anywhere that they may seem fit to food and nutrition education. Okay. It does go from pre-K to 12. This year, we have PS 24, 200, 214, 499, and John Bound, who were nominated this year. Last year was 21, 79, 193, 242, and 244. So our menu nutrition standards, I just wanted to educate a little bit about why we do what we do. So we are a federally funded program, which all of our meals, each child's meal is reimbursed through the federal government. So there is guidelines that we need to comply and meet in order to be reimbursed. So all of our menus, they vary with age groups and their grades. We have all of the 5 meal components that are meat and meat alternate, grains, the vegetables, and then of course, the nutrient factors that go into the guidelines, which is the calories, the sodium, and the total fat and saturated fat that have to be applied through the USDA. So recently, I don't know if you've heard, but the New York City food standards have elevated and been updated. We, as an organization, Food and Nutrition Services, already have been complying with this prior to New York State and implementing this. All right, and this is that stands across the food and beverages. Changes expand to restriction of low and no calorie sweeteners. No bans on artificial colors, sweeteners, no preservatives. We have never put any of that. We have never put any of those products into our. I know the board, it is in the flyers. I've given you also a menu ingredient, prohibited ingredient list so that you can see what's on there. I know it's kind of pretty small. But if any of the parents would like to go see that, you can go online and I'll show you exactly where to go find that as well. So our meal components at breakfast is fruits, grains, meats, meat and alternate, and milk. Out of these components, a student is required, and for us to get reimbursed with 3 minimum of these items. Even though it looks like 3, our grains is 2 ounces. So in order to get reimbursed, they must comply with taking 2 ounces of grain and a fruit. And for lunch, we have 5 components, which is the fruits, the vegetables, meat and meat alternate, and the milk. Which again, what must be on that plate is a fruit or vegetable. That's why sometimes when students come up on the line, they're like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want that, but they must take it because that's for us to get our reimbursement. We get audited every year from the government, every year. There's a selective schools, so we have to make sure that we comply with either fruit or vegetable on each tray. And it has to be a minimum of 3 out of the 5. That's the only way that we get reimbursed, and through inventory and all the paperwork, they will know if each child took a fruit or a vegetable. So when a child says, well, you know, I don't want the food, or I don't want the vegetable, we encourage them to maybe give it to a friend, or we just, you know, we say, just try it, just to try. We encourage them to try something that maybe they're not accustomed to. So any of the leftovers, because I know that's a concern, leftovers. We really train our staff, our cooks, to minimize the leftovers, okay? So there's not really much left over at the end of the day. How do we do that? So besides training our cooks, that what's called batch cooking, they know how many students we feed approximately each period, and how many students are going to eat within that period. Basically, at the end of the day, becomes, you know, an overall average on a daily basis. If it's a favorite item, of course, we go a little bit more, because that one student who takes lunch from home may want to eat that day. And by the way, it's mentioned in the beginning, all of our breakfast and lunch is free at no cost. So at any point, a child will never be refused a meal. They can come up if they usually bring their lunch from home, and one day they just want to eat our food. By all means, they're more than welcome. We have more than enough. So that's one way of minimizing the leftovers, as well as what's called offer versus serve. So we're offering all the students all of the components, but we're only going to serve a minimum of 3 of the components that the students would like to eat. One being a fruit or a vegetable that must be on that tray. Okay, back to the shared table. The shared table, the only thing, every school, this also has to be compliant with the USDA. Every school has to have a shared table where it's somewhere located in the cafeteria. The only thing that's on the shared table, it has to be something that cannot be contaminated. So meaning the fruit can be a banana, but it can't be an apple. It could be an orange with a peel, okay? Cereal has to be sealed. Milk containers have to be sealed. It cannot be anything that has been opened or anything that has already been cut. Because again, food safety is our #1 priority to students, and it's contamination and food temperature. So that's something that we carefully watch. So anything that's on the shared table, by all means, the students can, if they're still hungry, in addition to the salad bar. Menu accommodation, any food allergies, if the child has severe food allergies, we request that we have a medical accommodation, which is a 504 form. Doctor fills it out, see what the medical condition is. It's really severe. What we do is we have a meeting with one of our dietitians at our headquarters with the principal, the parents, and we try to come up with a menu for that particular child. Okay, those are the special accommodations, but they must have a 504 form on file. If it's something that is made a request at the point of service, so they have pasta, they don't want pasta with the sauce, but they just want it plain. No problem, we can accommodate something like that on the line. But if it's something a little bit more, and then if you need to know about menu, nutrition information, I also included that in handouts that you have there. Online, you go to our website on schools.nyc.gov, and you click in school life, and you drop down and you hit food. You'll see all of our information. Everything is online for the menu, nutrients, and any the dietary needs and process that needs to move forward with that individual child. We also have milk options. So in order for the milk, for the child to have soy milk or lactose free, again, we can have that available. We don't have it on a daily basis, but if we are aware, we can purchase that item for that student. And then chocolate favorite milk. We just want to, school committees and principal make the decision if they want chocolate milk or not. The chocolate milk is fat-free. It's a fat-free milk, and it's also eliminated as much as it can the high fructose syrup. Okay, so this is the menu nutrition information that is online. If any of the parents need to know what is the calories, the proportion, the saturated fat, the sodium, and sugar, all this information is online. So if a parent is interested, they can go on our website and find this information for their student. So we talked about the cafeteria enhancement experience. I know, SEA mentioned it briefly. So this is to transform the middle schools and the high school cafeterias for more of a pleasant, welcoming space. And it's kind of like self-service, like a food court. Okay, we have schools so far in this district. We have junior high school 189, we have Germantown, and we have Flushing High School. We have a few more schools that is on the list. They don't tell us when, they tell us today for tomorrow. But we have IS-25, 194, 237, Townsend Harris, and 1,000. I said
79.
185.
Oh.
Okay, 185. So those are the schools that are potentially the next round of schools. They have been approved for the budget, just don't know when. They tell me, yeah, maybe by the end of this year. They can call me tomorrow and say, going to start working on that cafeteria next week. This is how they tell us, and then we have to be scrambling and trying to get staff. But we'll talk about that. So anyway, it's a student choice, it's fast service. They're not waiting online, they want to help themselves. It's really a nice, pleasant enhancement that they have done for the older kids. So we also are, going green into the schools, the plastic-free lunch day. Our next plastic-free lunch day is December 16th. Where we move finger type foods where there's no need to, we can eliminate the plastic, as well as like our cheese sandwiches and peanut butter and jelly. They're made both, where we're just serving it rather than wrapping it. We eliminate plastic, and also with plastic spoons, forks. So we try to make it a kid-friendly, more of finger food rather than utilizing utensils on that day. So we also have what's called, we have hiring calls once a month at our Long Island City headquarters. Please spread the word. It is once a month, we are always looking for help in our kitchens. We have school lunch helpers, we have senior school lunch helpers, we have managers, as well as we're always looking for cooks in charge as well with cookbook experience. Again, got all great benefits that comes along with it. And like I said, we are always looking for help, so we're going to go into details with that. And then I left a few survey cards, but you can find this at any of your schools. So we want to know what the students like to eat. You as a parent, you can voice your opinion here of what your child would like to see, okay, in the future. This really helps. There's a scan. You scan it. I'm not sure if it's online, but I know it's at all the local schools. So you can find one of these red cards, and this will help identify where assistance is needed or recommendations or any value opinions that you may have. We would appreciate. Okay, and this is our contact information. This again is John Rizzo, it's Christina Sorrento, and then we have our regional director, Sheena Solis, and then Suzanne Molina, who's director of operations. I'm open for questions. No, it just helps understand how our program works.
I do have one thing.
Yes.
So I know you talked about like fruits and stuff like that, and the fruit like options at the very beginning. My little one back there goes, my school doesn't have it options like that.
Fresh fruit?
Very limited, she's saying.
Fresh fruit. So it depends on what's available to us. So it has to be fruit. If it's not fresh fruit, it's canned fruit. Well, we try to do both because a lot of the students do tend to go more for the sweeter canned fruit. So we
the
try
juices
and more the fresh fruit, but it's whatever's available to us seasonally. So right now, we call it like the boring fruit because the kids don't really go for the apples and pears. You know, we've been getting great tangerines. They've been loving that. Now
they always
coming
back.
back.
Yeah.
They come back on the service line and ask, "Can I have more?" You know, we get, but the fresh fruit is every day. It must be every day.
And then the other question was those trips that you were talking about, like for taste testing. How does a school go about requesting that?
There's a food service manager at every site. Find out from the school service manager or even the cook in charge of the school. They're usually wearing a white lab coat or a white chef coat. And,
That's what we'll be able to connect with them.
I know it's
So,
the iron.
one of the two
But they
commercial,
love
you
that.
can just make that recommendation that you would like to, know more information or like to be nominated. Or you can even email us, but we're the ones who actually, the principal contacts one of us, and we add them to the list of, the trips to headquarters. Usually in the beginning of the year, they'll say, you have a list of schools, and throughout the year, if you didn't get it previous year, I make sure they're on the list for the following year. Yeah, and it's fun. It's Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And again, if the students don't like it, it does not come on the menu. Everything that's on that menu has been selected by students. Yeah.
Thank you.
You offer overtime was looking into the kitchen in the headquarters.
So that's a good question. So we used to do that in the past, but anytime that you have like open house in the school or like a parent, a health fair or something going on in the schools, we like to tend to have a table and yes, we it's more than welcome, as long as it's after school hours.
I mean, the non-city headquarters.
Oh, the Lemon City
Yeah.
headquarters, like the open house.
Yeah.
They do not, but that's something we can recommend. We do have a kitchen lab at the headquarters that shows, where they do their little experiments. So, yeah,
Exactly,
something we
experiment.
usually do the
For food
tour when
trucks.
it comes to the student taste testing. That's usually when they do that.
So Christina and John were gracious enough last year during our wellness day. They opened up, we had it at 169 in Bell.
Yeah.
And they had a whole spread
Lots of
for
choices.
families to get an understanding of what it means in terms of this idea of wellness. Part of that was nutrition. So they opened up opportunities in little, snack size
Yeah.
versions of everything
Yeah.
for families and kids alike to be able to experience what it is that they would have at their disposal on, when they're eating at school.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And we actually have one at Flushing High School on December 19th. It's a health fair. We're going to be giving out the samples as well. And
There'll
students.
be another wellness day in District 25, just so you know.
Oh, you do?
Yes, there will be. Yeah.
In the spring,
The date, we have to pick the date. The
Okay.
date's not done.
when it gets a little warmer.
Okay.
So the food is not a made in the headquarters.
No, the food is not made at headquarters. The food is just taste tested at headquarters. So the food is from a vendor and then we enhance it with sauces and then there's fresh salads and that's all prepared fresh. We make that from scratch, all the salads, vegetables. And again, we're not using canned. We try to eliminate canned items. That's for emergency purposes. All of our produce comes in fresh or frozen. Often peas and mixed vegetables.
Takes a lot of logistics works
Yeah,
to deliver all the items.
Mhm.
it's a lot of work and the cafeteria staff take really much pride into their work and they really try really hard to get the kids eat because that's what we're here for. We want to make sure that the kids eat. We're here for the kids. And, it takes us great pride and appreciation when the students come up and they're eating our food. It's very rewarding to us.
You mentioned the plastic-free days. Have you heard by any chance any talk of maybe trying to move toward using reusable items? And so every day would be almost plastic-free.
So we're going that route. We started with our trays that used to be styrofoam, they're compostables. And now we're going to get, we have the compostable, utensils. Yeah. So we are moving in that direction. It just takes time. And also it's the funding, it's the money because those items cost extra money. So with the allowance that the federal government, allows us with budgetary reasons, they don't have enough allowance for.
But there's no
That's fine.
talk of moving toward actually reusable things to be washed.
It's something, yeah, I was gonna say sanitary reasons. I've been with nutrition services for 32 years. So when I started back in 1992, we did have schools that had actual dishwashers, like the old dishwashers.
Like
But they
line.
kind of little by little have kind of got that, and reusable plates. There was something in the past and it's just, I guess, maybe with labor reasons too. And equipment, we don't have those dishwashers anymore, the space in the kitchen. If the space in the kitchen, even the new schools are getting smaller and smaller. So we're trying to do the best with what we have, but it's something I'm sure that is Department of Environmental that works together with us on the 4th and 5th floor headquarters. So that's something that's talked about.
I have another question. You didn't mention it, but I know like Fridays have become like the vegan Fridays. What other option is there for children that like really absolutely hate the vegan option.
Right, so we don't have vegan Fridays anymore.
It's gone completely.
It's gone away. So the
Okay.
vegan item is it's partnered with another item. So
Okay,
let's say Wednesday there's veggie nuggets, there's chicken nuggets as well.
okay.
Okay, so that there's another option. So anybody that wants the vegetarian item,
They
it's
can
there.
get it. Okay.
So we kind of split it. We didn't make it just one day.
Yeah.
Because we got to. Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. So we kind of spread it throughout the week now. So it's not just Fridays.
Okay.
So percentage wise, what percentage of food are made hot? Percentage is cold.
Multiple hot. I mean, we really, we do hot food every day.
We have old alternatives. Either
As the
jelly cheese sandwiches, some is Princeton.
Yeah. There's 2 hot items every day on the menu. Yeah. Like, if they don't like it, then we have that whole items, which is the crème jelly and cheese.
Anybody else have any questions?
I would just say one quick thing, and just for folks that maybe in your community that are looking to become part of a kitchen staff, I know that it was put up there, but there are so many different people in our schools that make up an incredible school experience for kids, and our kitchen staff is a hugely important part of that. My aunt, this is years ago, was also part of a kitchen staff in Brooklyn, and one of the things about my aunt, she was very, very active and involved, and the kids loved her as though she was, a teacher in her classroom. And that's the kind of impact that our folks have. So I encourage anyone that might be interested in that kind of a path, to make sure that they're reaching out as well. It's hugely important for our schools.
And yes, in the coming future, we are trying to get approval for a District 25 hiring call. So just for local District 25. Prior to COVID, we used to do that, but then once COVID hit, it became like a hiring call. And it's all done at headquarters, but the problem is, I guess, public transportation or whatever the reasoning is on a Saturday, it's hard to get someone from here to get down all the way to Vernon Boulevard. So we're really trying to advocate to try to have a hiring call here in this district, in our office. Our office is located at PS 209. And so we'll do it on a Saturday. If and when I do get an approval, we will let you know so that we can share the information and have a local, locals come and apply for a position in the kitchen. I mean, minimum for maybe a mom who wants to go back to work, the students, their children have gone to school, minimum required is 4 hours of work per day. So, I think that part-time, that's a good thing. This way they can still be free when the
Yeah, people are looking
child comes
for
back
that.
to school.
Sounds great.
I'm here 32 years, John,
Wow.
27 years, and if you talk to anybody at school, food, we've both been here for a long time. We've been here, we love what we do, and we still love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Do you know if Rhea or Juliana? Just Rhea or Juliana, just do that.
You're supposed to come today?
Hi. I think you might have been asking about district
Oh, yeah.
planning.
Yes, hi. Thank
Hi.
you. Okay, so we have our district data summary next. We have Rhea and Julianne.
Yes, I'm actually here with my colleagues Emily and Christina. So Emily is going to kick it off. But I just shared my screen. Can folks just confirm that you're able to
Yes,
see
we
it?
got you.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here. My name's Emily Globin. I am the Associate Director of District Planning for Queens. I'm here with Julianne, who you just saw, and Christina, who's our colleague who works with analytics. So what we're going to do tonight is just briefly talk about who we are at ODP and then go over some of the highlights from the data summary, which is essentially high-level trends that we see across the district. We're going to take any questions that you have, give us your contact information if you have any questions that come up afterwards, and that'll be it. So briefly to talk about what the Office of District Planning is, the Office of District Planning, or ODP, is part of the First Deputy Chancellor's Division within New York City Public Schools. And essentially what ODP does is that we partner with school communities, CECs like yourselves, superintendents, school administrations, all of the stakeholders in the different districts to figure out what their needs and priorities are through what we call our annual district planning process. So this might be something like we see that enrollment is increasing in a certain area of the district. So how are we going to plan for the upcoming year to make sure that we are organizing schools so that they are best suiting the students in across the entire district? So we have a borough, sorry about that. We have a borough-based planning team for every borough. So Julian and I are on the Queens planning team. And then we have an analytics team that helps us run some of those data analysis questions that we might get. As I have sort of already mentioned, community engagement is a key part of the district planning process, and the engagement that we are doing tonight with you is, of course, a key part of that. So we really do look to engage in dialogue with all of the stakeholders that we work with because we want to make sure that our proposals are addressing the actual needs and the priorities of the district. So this might be us going to superintendents with information that we're seeing and asking them to weigh in with their opinions. It might be superintendents or CECs coming to our office about information that they're noticing or anecdotes that they're seeing, and asking us to investigate the data more closely. So through that process, we're committed to ensuring that all voices are heard as early and as consistently as possible, providing transparent and accessible information so that everybody can participate in the process fully, and engaging communities through discussion about district needs and ways to address those needs throughout the whole process. A lot of what our office does is manage the process for the Chancellor's Regulation A190. And so this regulation governs the public review process for any proposal about a significant change in school utilization. So what that means is if there is a change to a building or a change to a school. So for example, a co-location of one school in another in an existing building, or a grade expansion or a grade truncation, a merger or closure, our office manages that whole process. And for any of these processes, we are required to publish what's called an EIS, or an educational impact statement, which is a long document explaining the impact of any change that's going to happen on students, teachers, the community, etc. And then sometimes, if it's applicable, we'll publish what's called a building utilization plan, or a BUP. And the key point for this is that these cannot be published before, they have to be published, I should say, prior to 6 months before the start of the school year. So any proposal that we are looking to implement that we want to take effect in September 2026, we need to publish those documents by March 2026. And then after we publish those documents, we will convene what's called a joint public hearing, where CECs, community members, superintendents, all of the affected stakeholders gather together, and we hear about community input on the proposal. And then following the joint public hearing, our office publishes what's called a public comment analysis, or a PCA, to address all of the concerns and the questions and the support that was brought up during that joint public hearing. That is the final step before the PEP votes on the proposal, and so nothing that our office does goes into effect unless the PEP votes, for the A190 process at least, unless the PEP votes on the proposal and approves it. And then just a brief overview of what our year looks like. In the spring, we start with a needs assessment. And so that's where our office is really working with those stakeholders and looking at data to figure out what might be the needs of this district in this upcoming year. What might be the priorities that different stakeholders are asking us to focus on as well. And then continuing into the spring, going into the summer, we're continuing that process, sharing what's called a district data summary, which with every community education council. So some of you may have seen the district data summary for this past year. And we're starting these conversations that we're having right now to discuss the data together and get their input on any of the trends that we're seeing. And then we'll continue, of course, to have those meetings with stakeholders to figure out what initial plans we might think about for addressing some of the priorities that came up. Then moving into spring and fall, we're preparing to post these proposals that might result in school utilization changes for the upcoming year. Obviously, that is going to continue. That is going to require continued discussions with stakeholders like superintendents and CECs. And we're going to start really fleshing out the ideas that we're hoping to propose later on in the year. And then finally, what we are currently in is the fall and winter part of this cycle, where we are looking at all of the conversations that we've had over the past year and starting to actually draft and finalize the proposals and continuing some of those more formal A190 pieces that we went over on the last slide. And now I'm going to pass it over to Christina to talk about the data.
Thank you, Emily. So in the next few slides, we'll talk through some of the data points in the data summary. We won't go through everything in the data summary, but just some of the highlights. So first, we'll look at some enrollment and retention trends, starting at the elementary school level. So in the past 5 years, K-5 enrollment within District 25 has decreased by about 10%. So between 2019 and 2023, it's decreased after the COVID years, but between 2023 and 2024, it looks like enrollment has stayed about the same, changing just about 1%. A big driver for this decline in K-5 enrollment is the decline in K-5 residents, which we've seen decrease by about 8%. Then next, we'll look at district retention. So district retention rates means the percentage of K-5 residents who stay within the district for elementary school. So in D25, 80% of K-5 residents stayed within the district for elementary school. And this is significantly higher than what we're seeing across a lot of other districts in the city. We're seeing a citywide average of 54%, and D25 has the second highest elementary school district retention rate. When we look at where else students go, so if they're not enrolling in a district school within the district, 13% are enrolling in non-public schools, 3% are enrolling in other district schools outside of the district, and just 1% are enrolling in charter schools. Next, we'll look at the same thing, but on the middle school side. So similarly, in the past 5 years, middle school enrollment has decreased by about 5%. And we're seeing a similar thing happening at the middle school level, where the primary driver of this decrease in middle school enrollment is the decline in middle school residents. Thank you. So next, we'll look at middle school district retention. So again, this is the percentage of middle school residents who stay within the district for middle school. So in D25, 80% of middle school residents are staying in the district for middle school, and it's the highest middle school district retention rate compared to all of the districts. Where else are students going? 13% are enrolling in non-public schools, 4% enroll in other districts outside of D25, and again, just 1% are enrolling in charters.
Thanks, Christina. So last up here, last little bit of data before we'll take questions. Just looking at enrollment and capacity across the district. You'll see at the elementary school level, currently we're seeing a deficit of seats. Thankfully, there's been some new capacity that's come online in recent years, with additions opening at Q032 and Q169. There is also a new building anticipated to open in September 2027 with 451 elementary school seats. That's Water's Edge, which I think a lot of you are already very well familiar with. Superintendent D'Antona can also share more, but we have started to engage on planning related to that building, which could be subject to that A190 process that Emily outlined earlier. The proposal that we have been starting to explore there would be to resite PS 169 from their current building over to Water's Edge. So happy to share more about that. But given that the building's opening in September 2027 anticipated, we have a little bit of time to continue engaging with you all and gathering feedback from the community about how to best use Water's Edge to meet needs and priorities in the district. There's also a second new building slated to open in the district. Q512 is the building code with 600 elementary school seats. That's slated to open in September 2028. So we have a little bit of time. We haven't started engaging on that just yet, but those two buildings will help to eliminate this seat deficit in District 25. On the middle school level, there's a slight excess of seats currently, but we'll continue to keep a close eye on that for sure. For District 75, wanted to highlight that we've seen an increase in the number of District 75 residents in District 25 over the past 5 years. We are seeing a deficit of District 75 seats at the elementary and high school levels. So we will continue to explore opportunities to open new District 75 programs where we see sufficient excess space. Typically, it's been hard to find buildings in District 25 that have enough space to accommodate these programs. But the two new buildings I mentioned previously, Water's Edge and Q512, both include design District 75 space to accommodate District 75 programs. So that I think will also help to chip away at those seat deficits. And then last up, there's a variety of special programs across the district. Just wanted to briefly highlight that here. We have Horizon, Nest, G&T, and a variety of bilingual programs. And we're happy to take questions.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. Here's our contact info. If folks have questions, please feel free to reach out. And thank you so much for having us at your meeting. We really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Julian.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, just so you guys know, I do meet with them on a regular basis to talk about where we are as a district in terms of current projects and where that might lead us moving forward. So particularly Water's Edge particularly the Water's Edge space. We did have an engagement earlier in the year. We'll continue to have engagements with the community to continue to talk about how we're going to build on that particular project. The intent was that building would have opened in 2026. But that got pushed back to 2027. So which was a good thing in a sense that it allowed us more time to plan and think through what the best options were for it. So.
Yes, many more Water's Edge planning conversations to come for sure.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we're gonna turn it over to Dr. Mike for his report.
All right, I'm going to shift around my presentation a little bit. It's shorter than usual, so you're welcome, everyone. But I'm going to bring in, some of our students first, if that's okay. They're here and ready to share with you a little bit about the work.
That way, when they go to present,
Sure.
so that they can.
But Melinda, you still here? Melinda from our team who supports so many different things from the space of literacy in our middle schools to social studies across our district. But also heads up work around civics for all, something that we're really proud of here in District 25, and continuing to grow and get better at as year by year passes. Our kids are getting more and more interested and excited about projects that they're passionate about themselves, things that they are having a call to action for. So we're fortunate we have two of our students that are here with us tonight from IS25, and we thank them for being here. But I'm going to ask Melinda to quickly just give an overview of the Civics for All work first, and then we will invite our two students up.
Thank you, Dr. Danton. Thank you for having our students here tonight. Civics for All started in District 25 5 years ago as a pilot. Dr. D'Antona was the deputy superintendent then, and then Superintendent Domingo decided to invite all of the schools to be a part of the Civics for All initiative. We were the first full district to take on Civics for All as a pilot. We have also become a bit of a model for other districts that are now full partnership districts, and it's about 2/3 of the city now. Right now in our schools, our students are participating in Civics for All lessons. They are writing their soapbox speeches in preparation for the Queens event in January. And in January, they will be beginning their Take Action projects, where they will be looking at issues in their communities to take action on. We've had some very good successes with Take Action, including a traffic light at PS 22 and several other schools who have followed along, like PS 120, trying to get a stop sign on their corner. So as part of Project Soapbox, we are partnered with an organization called the Midford Challenge. They're out of Chicago. They've been partnering with the New York City Public Schools for several years. And they posed a question to the students this year. What is the most important issue facing young people in your communities? And then our students were challenged to find an issue that they were passionate about that they are going to come up here and share 2 amazing speeches tonight. And I will tell you that over the last 5 years, our topics have gotten much more sophisticated, and we're giving our students their voices, and they are using them. So I am going to invite Jake. Would you like to go first? Come on, Jake.
I want to bring this closer there. Then they can be heard better.
And Jake is going to be talking about data security. Right here. Go ahead.
Oh, can I just hold it? Sure. Okay. Okay, my name is Jake. I'm from IS25. I'm going to talk about data security. Okay. Now, have you ever been hacked? Well, I have. But before I get to that, let me tell you a little bit about what data security is, how it all leads to me getting hacked. According to IBM.com, data security is the practice of protecting on-premise devices, including unauthorized access, mobile devices, cloud platforms, and third-party applications. This is something you've heard about many times in the past, but for your information, you probably don't take this seriously enough, which is why I'll have to talk about it. So we know that data security is really important because it helps protect the information you put online. Now, some examples of what data security protects are phishing, malware, Trojan horse, and exploits. For the sake of today's speech, I'll just be narrowing down to one of those things I just listed. Phishing. As proofpoint.com says, someone's email address could be spoofed and it could instruct the recipient to send money, click a malicious link, or reply with sensitive data. So essentially, phishing means that they gaslight you into giving them money and private information. For example, if someone pretends to be your mom, sell them $1,000 immediately, or she'll have to go to jail. Would you action immediately? If you fall into the trap and send the money, will all the data security measures detect the scam before anything bad happens? Or in another situation, if you're a CEO and your IT department came along and said that your company's network is under attack by a virus, and you need to download this software to protect your computer files against it. Would you action immediately? Would you question whether this email is real or not? If you click on the link to download, are your company's data security, will it even be strong enough to protect you, or will it just let the suspicious softwares go through? Now, these types of attacks are quite common. So in an ideal world, the data security protects, it will make it less likely that anything bad will even happen at all. So now that we know what data security is, how common is data security and how many people fall for it? Well, according to FBI.gov, that's right, FBI, 860,000 people have complained about suspected internet crime, and details reported losses exceeding $16 billion. That's more than $18,000 per complaint. We could buy a lot of pizzas with one successful scam. Now, back to my hacking story. I was watching a YouTube video where it was teaching me how to download an add-on for my game that I was playing on. The video was real, the YouTuber was legit. But as I was trying to download something, I might have accidentally clicked on a link that looked exactly like the real website. My computer was trying to warn me that the installation might not be so safe. It gave me at least 3 pop-up warnings. I just clicked yes, yes, yes to all of them. I didn't even read properly, just turned off all the security measures in order to download the software. Uh-oh! After the installation, my computer was bricked. I knew something was wrong. Okay, let's not get into how my parents reacted. Okay, but I know now not to ignore those data security warnings. So, and to further prove that, let's talk about another popular phishing scam. Everyone here, I would think, knows Roblox. My cousin was watching a YouTube video, again, on how to get free items. She clicked on a link under the video, sent to a Roblox website where it asked for a user and password. That was it. The scammers now had her login information, went into her Roblox account, stole everything that was precious to her. A 13-year-old girl who got her whole Roblox inventory stolen. That's equivalent to stealing $1 million from a working adult. She was devastated for the whole summer. She also quit the game. Okay, but of course, we should not be comfortable knowing that hackers are taking over, making so much money from doing these illegal activities. How do you stay alert and also online to prevent the hackers from stealing information and devices? The first thing I would do is educate. Educate kids on how to protect their private information. Don't go around flashing your mom's credit card information. And also, don't give out usernames and passwords. And don't click on unverified links. Don't be like my cousin. Don't download software from fake websites. And don't turn off your security settings. Don't be like me. And also, based on proofpoint.com, it's a good idea to use AdBlock, the real ones. Okay? Avoid clicking ads, especially on pop-ups. Most of them are probably malware that instruct users to download content. It is such a shame that such a common issue like suspicious pop-ups, fake websites continue to cause millions of damage to be scammed and billions of dollars that are being stolen away. We don't even know where it goes, probably to some random department or something. Data security is really important because it protects your data, including your credit card information that's linked to your Amazon account, your TikTok account, and search history. All these data can be used to imitate and pose as you to scam the people around you. But thankfully, data security works as it should, I hope. There's a good chance your information might not be leaked or compromised. Even if you accidentally clicked on a bad link, being protected with multiple layers of security will likely prevent you from being scammed at all. I hope that we can keep spreading the awareness so that these big reported losses could diminish into thousands, which could be a big win for us all, and probably put these scammers out of business. So let's educate youngsters on this issue and keep your own data safe. Be cautious. Use your sharp eagle eyes when on the internet. Make sure you have proper data security all around you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jake, for sharing your perspective, and perhaps you and I and IS25 can link up and have conversations around how this can become a public service announcement for all students in District 25, because it's not just about having a conversation here, it's about a call to action for others. And I can tell you that sometimes those links look really like the ones you should be clicking, and unfortunately, we make really bad choices that impact us in ways that maybe not the $18 billion space, but in ways that we don't really want to see happen to us, and maybe others that are connected to us in our family. So thank you for sharing your really.
Thank you, Jake. And now I'm going to introduce Amna, also from IS25, who's going to tell us about the importance of home economics.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I bet none of you know how to clean a toilet. Raise your hand if all you know how to cook is toast. It's not okay that many children do not know how to cook or do necessary life skills because schools don't teach any. Yet they know skibbity toilet and odd memes like the back of their hand. It's a problem that far too many children do not know how to do housework. In fact, according to Prenda Micro Schools, an organization that creates small learning groups, states that 95% of children in the US can expertly navigate a cell phone, while 47% of those people lack the basic ability to tie their shoelaces. This is an embarrassment that so many children in school don't understand how to do necessary skills. Sure, these skills may not be taught at home, but if the schools teach them, they'll be required to learn these things. My kitchen curtain almost caught on fire while cooking instant noodles. Schools don't have the best solution to this problem, but long ago, once upon a time, in most schools, there was a class called home economics. This class taught household skills such as cooking, cleaning, and laundry. These days, it's rare to find home economics still in action in schools in the city. In fact, this very school taught home economics on 2 rooms on the first floor around the 1960s and 70s. According to the Positive Action Program, a school program for social emotional learning says that if schools do end up teaching children life skills, these kids will end up making great decisions in the future involving creative thinking, problem solving, and skills similar that have to do with their mental health. In an article called Why Should We Be Teaching Life Skills in 2025, they state learning life skills helps young people who they are and what they want out of life. Schools focus on social emotional learning, which is learning about mental health and mainly yourself. It's up to the school to make sure that this generation of children know how to cook simple things and clean up for themselves. And the schools can't do that unless they bring back home economics. Take a look at the children nowadays. Fascinating, right? 27% of people in the US from ages 18 to 28 can't make soup, according to the New York Post. Guess what? These are the same people who have not had home economics. What if this generation's children end up being 18 to 28 years old, not knowing how to make soup? It's unacceptable that even ordinary kids in the future could experience issues while doing the simplest of tasks because of their lack of knowledge on it. It's very frustrating that schools don't teach children how important it is to know these skills, especially when there's such a large percentage of children who struggle with knowing how to do them. So you're probably sitting there thinking that you can't really do anything about this, therefore you really couldn't care less. But there is something you can do. Shove it in anyone's faces. There are always so many posters all around the schools, so just do the same. Plaster the need to bring back home economics all over the walls. Create posters or handout papers, and as many as you'd like. These posters can have slogans or jokes about how children lack abilities to do household chores, or how it just should simply be brought back. Mind you, posters won't be enough. Use your voice. Talk about this problem with fellow classmates and watch your words spread. Talk about how the 2 rooms on the first floor should be restored to home economics. Talk to everyone about the difference it would make in the fun factor. Imagine being able to bake cookies in school. Imagine you got a stain on your favorite shirt. Home economics would give you the tricks to take it out. Tell teachers about your opinion and see if they agree. I told some of my teachers about home economics, and they said that it used to be one of their classes. It turns out it was one of their favorite classes, and I would really appreciate it if schools could bring it back. The more you spread it, the bigger the chance that the school will hear you and make a change once and for all. If you have any questions, ideas, or recommendations, feel free to email homeeconomicsforall@gmail.com. So after all I've said, I wish that now you agree with my opinion and start to bring more attention to this topic. Hopefully my words have made this issue stick around in your mind. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to convince the school to bring back home economics.
Thank you so much, Anna. That was terrific. And I have to tell you, my son, who's in ninth grade, he's not a middle schooler, but he is part of his coursework right now is in fact having being part of a home economics class. And one of the spaces of his work that he gets most excited about is the fact that he gets to learn how to cook. And because of that, recently, meaning a couple of days ago, he baked pumpkin muffins, pumpkin cupcakes with chocolate chips in them that he had to do on his own because he found that much value in it. So I appreciate you doing what you did tonight, and it gives me something to think about in terms of how do we connect with your building principal about perhaps organizing some ways for that to happen for you. So thank you so much for that. You guys were great. So I'm just wondering, just from the perspective of the CEC and thinking about the idea of this work around civics for all and these soapbox speeches and these call to action spaces for our kids. What is it making you think about? I'm just wondering if you have any quick comments about the space of this, the direction of it, the asks, the wonderings that you may have in relationship to this type of work so that the voices of our youngsters go beyond the space of just talking about it here. And that's what ultimately one of my goals is to get it beyond the space of just talking about it, and allowing our kids to be able to do something that's meaningful and long lasting. So I'm wondering, any thoughts or comments? Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like I remember back in the day, like having home economics, like growing up. So to hear kids actually asking for that, it's really interesting. And I know, like, just on that alone, plus data, like, I know this year data is being pushed a lot in the district. So for me, it's like, okay, the kids are realizing it's important also, so that we need to make sure we're doing more for them. But it also reminded me of one of the speeches last year that we heard about with financial education and the lack of financial education for students. So there's a lot of different like things that they're realizing are going to affect their future, and they're looking for us to like take action on that somehow, and they want to make actions happen. So I think that's really where I would go with it.
Thoughts? When I was in high school, we had electives, and a lot of our electives were like skill based. So like stock market elective, like engineering, and building bridges, and whatever stuff like that. I do like not to be a Debbie Downer, but I do wonder how we could introduce this curriculum when we already have so many demands on students at it. And would this be something that we implement as like after school enrichment thing, or is it something that we work into the school day?
Yeah, I mean, the decisions around the two particular speeches now is not necessarily something that will be organized right in the moment. It's really more about the context of the purpose behind Civics for All that I'm wondering if anyone has any comments on, and what it can do for our kids.
Something, how about we start like, we have a wellness month, we have a breast cancer month, so within the DOE to create something, voice from students month, so that we do some activities so that all district will be able to kind of focus on how we could collect information, like opinions of each school. Like they give us like a couple of topics about public health or like school community, then children will get involved in maybe writing a little essays about it, or the school themselves will have something like event where like a open mic kind of thing too. We could set maybe like a wellness month, we could set like a student voice month so that we could start from there.
So I think the options that this brings are, there's so many that can come from our kids. And I think for what I love about it, and I'm hoping that you see it, is that kids have to convey information like an expert. And that is one of the important parts of this, is that you're hearing them talk about research. Here's what I've heard from this article. Here's what I'm pulling from it to convey the information like an expert, to make sure that you're hearing their perspective and why it's important for them to become a call to action. And those are the types of things, down to our little ones. Our kindergartners, our first graders are engaging in this in their own way. And last year we had a first grader who did her speech around birthdays and how she felt it was important for her special day to be celebrated on her special day. The school celebrated monthly.
Once you get to third grade, it's like a monthly thing.
She was not having that, because for her special day was on June 18th. And June 18th is when she wanted her birthday to be celebrated. So needless to say, it resulted in me communicating with the principal. And what did she wind up having an opportunity to do? Celebrate on June 18th, which so happened to be the same birthday as my wife. And I received an email from the mom saying, thank you so much, showing a picture of her daughter celebrating her birthday. And by the way, happy birthday to your wife also. So it does a great deal of power in promoting student voice around things that they're passionate about and the things that they believe in. And the more we can do that for our kids, the better off they're going to be in terms of making really informed decisions for themselves as they go beyond middle school into high school, and then future careers or college, whichever it winds up becoming for them. So that preparation, I think, is really, really important inside of that space. And I'm hoping you were able to see that with just the two examples that you saw today. Okay.
So I'm sorry, thank you. In terms of the curricular piece of this is getting our students ready for high school, which will allow our middle school students are eligible to earn 1 point towards the Seal of Civic Readiness, which is a pathway to graduation. There are only 2 pathways that New York State offers right now: the Seal of Biliteracy and the Seal of Civic Readiness. This path, we are taking our students on this pathway right now to graduate with that seal on their diplomas.
Thank you so much, Linda. So I'm going to go through this really quickly. Just recent event, we had a Thanks for Giving walk at John Bound Park, Bound Park, excuse me. And really nice event. We had a bunch of family members that were able to join us from the community, donating canned goods for a local food pantry. So big thanks to all of our community members that were able to join, and Diana from our team for organizing the event. Recent and upcoming events. So we recently held our special education session for our families, that virtual session, as well as a mathematics session. I just want to make sure that you guys know, even if you did miss it, it's accessible to you on our District 25 site. You go to our archive and you'll see the video recording from both of those sessions. Our L training sessions, we have two of them. One is next week in both, I might be confusing the dates. One is in both English and Spanish, and the other one is Mandarin only to support some of our multilingual learner families to make sure that it's accessible to them and building those language supports moving forward. So those are there. I just want to make sure that you're aware of it. Also important that everyone is clear on where their children are in terms of assessment. So the Acadians assessment window obviously come and gone. The second one's coming. But those links will bring you to YouTube videos from our district team explaining what the Acadians assessment assesses in K1 and 2, as well as an iReady video from District 25 that is accessible, just pointing it out so that you have a resource if your children are in K-2 for Acadians and then upper grades for iReady. Now, we're not going to do this only because of interest of time, but our connection before content activities are ones that we could just have a moment just to learn a little bit about one another. So our connection card, where is your happy place and what details about this place make it so positive for you? I will do a quick one for you. Mine is Aruba. It is known as the Happy Island, just so that everyone knows. And the reason it's my happy place, one, is where my wife and I wound up having our honeymoon. And for both of my children, so many things wound up happening for them that were firsts. My daughter walked for the first time while she was in Aruba, as well as my son. And Matthew learned to swim without those muscles for the first time in the swimming pool in the same hotel. So, so many different memories for me that I am able to pull from that place. A little bit about me inside of that, only because I know I wound up getting the hook at some point. You guys can share one of those during the next meeting. Just enrollment reminders. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but just please be aware that this is going to be shared during every month until the admissions windows are done, just so that no one misses out on any dates. These are all here and accessible to you. Please make sure that you're reviewing them on a routine basis. So we have our high school enrollment admission dates that are here. We have our middle school admission dates and such. Middle school applications close next week, by the way. Offers will be released in April. A little bit more time for kindergarten. Those applications close in late January. 3K pre-K windows open in January and close in February. And G&T grades 1 through 4 windows open later in the year in April, close in May, and then releases in June. So we already did our Civics for All space. Thank you again to our students, Amna and Jake, for their great presentations. You guys did a great job. Parent survey. Just wanted to give you an update on this, on our engagement goals here. I shared with you during our last CEC meeting that we had 1,100 responses. 700 parents responded that they can use additional SEL and parenting support. So as a result of that, we send out a secondary survey from the district. Right now, we don't have a huge number of responses from the 700 families that made requests. Only 31 have responded back, so we'll be doing another round of requests. So CEC members, if you do know folks that are out there that are looking for these supports, I do ask that you ask folks to connect with that survey. I will send it widely again out through everyone via Gamma so that I can get some more of the perspectives on that. Interestingly enough, I was on a school visit today, and some of the things that came from the parent chat that we engaged in was actually 100% aligned with what parents talked about in our big survey, was that they can use some additional SEL supports for their kids, building those peer relationships. Those worries that we all have as parents are very clear when we talk to folks. So the goal is to try to build on this as a district community. And the last part, we are in process of with our district CEC pilot and starting to organize around the expectations around school leadership teams and how they're going to start building out this concept of wellness, kindness, community from their SLTs. And that for me is the conclusion of what I need to share today with you. So if you have any questions about any of the things, including Civics for All, please let me know, or the parent engagement part of it. Come February, we'll have another update on our mid-year data around where we are in terms of progress. But that concludes my short presentation tonight. Welcome.
Good timing for tonight. Okay, so I just have two quick things. First off, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to anyone who has registered to go to the basketball game that the U of T is hosting, and it had us partner with them. We have 120 people attending as of right now, so it's going to be a great event. Also, I did get an update from the U of T. I know we do have our IEP meetings for special education, but there is also going to be a virtual workshop Monday, December 15th from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. And I do have the registration. I can pass it around if anyone's interested in looking at it. Or if, I will also send a copy via email. That's it for me. So I'm going to move over to public speaking. And I know Al wanted to speak.
Yeah, I stopped by today because, by the way, I'm from CEC 26. Stopped by today because I came last month and told the council about a couple of resolutions that and here to sit, give appreciation and thanks to the council for considering the resolution on cannabis dispensaries. I think it's very important that we work together to get our voices heard and let state legislators know that we cannot allow these things to happen. We can't have dispensaries opening up so close to schools. So I hope that the council passes your resolution on the cannabis dispensaries. And once you do that, please send it out to your state legislators, state senators, and your senators. So thank you for that. And while I'm here, I just want to drop off another resolution that we just worked on. It hasn't been passed yet, but we'll work on it next week. And it's about dealing with vacancies in communities and CECs. So the way that it works right now in state law is that quorum is determined by the majority of the authorized seats. So CECs, it's 12, right? But I believe that you're missing a D75 representative, right? So even so, we still need 7 out of 12. That's state law. So there's precedent for using these quorum based on the seated members, not authorized members. Right. So you have 11 right now. So instead of 7 of 11, if you can get the law changed, it'll be 6 out of 11. So there is precedent for this to occur. All you have to do is get the state legislature to amend education law to change the quorum rules, right? So this, like I said, this is precedent in state law for the MTA. The MTA specifically writes that quorum is determined by number of seated board members. So just on that. One last thing I want to mention is the SCA presentation. We will have that next month. And we're just like you, just up in arms. We found out that they will prioritize roofing projects, right? Electrical upgrades and boiler upgrades. So last year we submitted 5 requests for exactly these types of projects. And guess what?
Should I ask if yours went missing?
Well, guess what? None of them were approved.
Yeah.
So like you, I think we need to get some transparency. And the root cause of this issue with SCA is that there's a lack of accountability. They just are not accountable to anyone. They're supposed to be held accountable by the board of trustees, but the board of trustees for the SCA, it's just, if you look at their minutes on their website, they meet for 20, 25 minutes and they just go through the motions and adjourn the meeting. They do nothing. So we have to work together as DCs and come up with a resolution and ask the state legislators to change the law and make sure that the SCA is held accountable. Maybe asking for parent members to serve on the board of trustees, right? Just to keep an eye on them and just ask questions and make sure that the executive management, SCA, is held accountable. So that's something that a lot of us should work on. All right, so one last thing I want to mention before I go is Superintendent D'Antona. When you have a chance, please speak with Superintendent Zarello and give us some tips on how to give a very short and effective superintendent's report.
That's because I've been training him.
You can put a time clock.
I've been given the hook. I'm on a timer, Al. I'm on a timer.
Put a timer in front of him,
I'm
to
on a
be
timer
honest.
and I get the hook.
Okay, Lamar, I know you had your hand raised.
Yes. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Hoping you're all doing well.
The beard coming up.
Eden, you just actually took care of two of the points I wanted to share. So I'm actually like really done. I'm almost up. I've only got 1 point to add. So thank you. Good looking
You got
out.
it.
I just wanted to piggyback and thank you and your CEC and the district as a whole for supporting and helping out with our family night project. Like I said, I was sectioned out of 120 seats, and by our last count, 120 seats have been sold out, and I feel like there's a couple of more smattering here and there in the garden. I just want to say, if there's anybody, for those who may be there at halftime, we'll be outside of section 220. Hopefully we could get everyone together and take a nice group shot. That would be very much appreciated. I also just wanted to bring up our issues with the paraprofessionals and where we stand with that. The last time I spoke to you all, we discussed the respect check that we're hoping City Council would pass. Good news, we had a hearing on November 13th, which was basically everyone giving testimony in terms of what the conditions of working as a paraprofessional entails. So that went well on us. And then the following Tuesday, there was supposed to be a follow-up meeting where the council would narrow down the different bills to go to a final vote. And unfortunately, ours was not on the list, which we are finding very perplexing. So we're deciding as a city that we're going to start taking our voices to the streets on this. We've already started petitioning outside of Speaker Adams' office in Southeast Queens. And if you ever checked out her social media pages, you're going to see a lot of members, a lot of our folks across the city, across the districts, all over, discussing or publicly asking why she won't give the okay for bill. The bill is 1261. You might hear that number a lot. Pardon me, why she won't give it the okay for that bill to pass. So that's where we are with that. I don't know where we are in a district space, but it's my ask that if we need support in getting the message out on how valuable paraprofessionals are to our profession, to our work, if you're within an earshot of our voice and the spirit moves you to participate, we would love to have your support as well. That's publicly out to everyone. And that's where we stand with this. So we're going to keep going. There are 2 more dates where our bill can go to a final vote or a second preliminary vote. I forget the order, but there are 2 more dates before the calendar year ends. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that we can get one of those 2. So outside of that and outside of the workshop on the 15th and all, if we don't, I guess we won't see each other again until January. So happy holidays, everyone. I'll see you. We'll see each other in our travels in the district, and take care, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks, Lamar.
Thank you.
Lamar.
Is there anyone else with their hand raised?
If I could just
Yeah.
stand there, I just
Wherever you want.
Okay. So I want to just echo the sentiment brought up by CC 26 President Al Suhu in terms of supporting a resolution related to the cannabis dispensaries. I was at his meeting last month, and it's a really big problem. And for that particular school, and I'm not aware of any in District 25, but I wouldn't want any of our students or any of our families to be confronted with a situation where you have a cannabis store located too close to a school, and really the odor, it permeates and it's going into schoolyard playgrounds. So it's something that I'm hoping CEC 25 will also get on the bandwagon. I think the resolution in terms of quorum unseated members makes common sense. Like, it's ridiculous if you have trouble filling, you know, either a D75 and in other CECs, often the ELL seat is vacant, that it makes it very hard for a CEC to conduct business and have quorum. So please get on it. We need to, I don't know what the legislature did, but it just seems like something, you know, just fell through. The last is related to SCA. I, you know, listened to the district planning. I see that we're short of seats, and it sounds like there is a delay. Is that what I hear in terms of the Edgewater?
Got pushed
It
back
got
a year.
pushed back. So some of the numbers that they were presented, do they take into account the class size law that we're coming up to? Does it? It's inclusive of that. So we are not in need of any additional space besides, so all of our schools can be compliant.
So, no, not necessarily right in
That's
this
what I was
moment.
wondering, because
So,
there is
but when
a-
you, when
yeah.
you talk about the addition, certain spaces that right now have the need, i.e. the school that we be built in Flushing, will help support a great deal of that need.
Of that,
And that is in 2028. So that will certainly be a huge support of our seat need in that area.
Mhm.
When you look at the overarching numbers there, does it come relatively close to what that need is versus the amount of space? Sure.
Oh, so we're good in District 25.
So I don't know that we can ever say good, ever say good.
I mean, you know,
Make effort this year.
Schools are making an effort. So right
Yeah.
now we are
There's
on
three
target
that we
with
got
what
now,
the
so-
60% mark threshold is.
Right,
So the goal is to try to improve upon that for moving into
right.
next year.
80%. Okay, and I'm
Yeah.
aware, I mean, some of you may also be on your school leadership teams. So, you know, that there was a principal survey that many of us had to participate in to just, you know, I guess, apply for more resources to,
Yeah, every school had to.
And it was
had
very
to complete
beneficial
the-
last year.
Every
doing
school
that.
had to complete the form.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
it.
we-
Thank you so much.
We are fully in compliance with the part of making the requests, whether or not that can happen across 100% of our classrooms right in the moment, not necessarily, but the goal is to do that.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion.
Shirley, it is 8:54. Anyone want a second? Okay, we're gonna take a 2-minute break and then we'll move into our business meeting. Yeah. What's up?
I had brought.
I'm like, going.
The location.
Here.
Present.
Present. Angela,
She stepped out a minute, but, oh, there she is.
Amy,
Present.
Stephanie,
Present.
Angela's not here. Anna,
Present.
Ethan.
Steven, speak up.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I didn't know it counted as present.
Ken,
Yes, present.
present, and Ben.
Okay, if everyone could just quickly take a look at our minutes from last month. If there's no changes, we will adopt the minutes.
I mean, everything looks good.
I think I had caught one thing and I sent that back to her previously. Does anybody see anything? Everything look okay to everybody?
Also,
Yes? No? Maybe so? Everyone good? Okay, so we will adopt the minutes. I'm not hearing any complaints. And Shauna, go ahead with the treasurer report. I'm moving us quick tonight, guys.
Thank you. So for reimbursements, we have a remaining budget of $10,425. For meeting expenses, we have $1,904. P card still has $500. For supplies, we still have the entire budget of $400, and for equipment repairs, we have $12 for me.
Perfect. Thank you. So for school visit updates, before we even talk about SEA stuff, did anybody have a school visit in November that they did not tell us about last month because it happened after?
Yes.
You had yours. Which school was it? Christine? What school and what date?
184.
184.
And November 7th.
November 7th.
Okay, I got that.
Okay. Shauna did 193 on what date again?
November 12th.
November
12th.
November 12th. Yeah, that was with me and Angela present as well.
I did IS 25 on November 7th. Angela and Kent also came to that one.
I was the 27th.
No, the 7th.
Okay.
Anybody else have any November visits? Is anyone struggling to get in touch with any of the schools at this point? What school? Which one? 214? Okay.
You were able to send that back. They didn't respond. They did not respond. Okay, I'll be up in the call.
Perfect. I was gonna say, we'll tell that to Mike, otherwise, okay, perfect. Okay. Anybody have any updates from those visits that stood out that you want to let us know about, anything like that? I was at one of them, but anybody want to share anything specific?
So they have like their playground flooring done not so long ago, but it's already kind of failing. So they need it to be redone, and it's taking it's taking a lot of effort for them to try to get anything from SCA. Why not? Are you guys coming? You guys fixing it or not? We can't use the playground right now because it's like kids trip on it. So it sounds like all these schools just have a lot of trouble actually getting the SCA to.
I'm gonna kind of touch on that shortly. But yeah, no, that's a good point.
What was the Zoom meeting we were on that you presented at? There was another council that presented at like about difficulties with the SCA. I mean,
The pilot, when we did our pilot meeting?
Yes, that one.
Yeah, that was the presentation for the 3 different districts that did their pilots. So, was there anything else from the 2 visits that you did that you wanted to point out?
I mean,
the bathroom issue at 193, he's aware of and very involved in.
At an earlier visit to IS 25 and the SLT meeting, they brought up the ceiling in the gym, but we talked to the gym teacher and she just thought, oh, if you just, made this small change, it would probably be okay. So
She seems like she's fine, even though the school's concerned about it.
Not quite fine, but it was like, just raise the netting. So maybe not an SCA project.
I did include all of the requests.
Yes, we're gonna go over that in a second. Okay, was there anything else from the visits?
Nothing really stood out to me from that one.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you. So we're gonna go quickly over our January meeting, just so everyone knows, I do have 2 items that we definitely have on the calendar. Voting on the SCA projects that we're going to submit, which I will talk about last year's submissions in a moment. And also Dr. Mike's State of the District is next month as well. So that's a longer presentation from Dr. Mike because he does a deep dive for us. Is there anything else that we wanted to put on the calendar for next month specifically? Because I know that that presentation from him will be a little bit longer of a presentation.
Do we have to, or it's okay, good to go? Just
We could leave it with just those 2 items. Was there anybody else that was requesting to speak next month? I know we'll obviously also have some soapbox speeches that'll be here.
Yeah. So I think we should just leave it as it is. Instead of trying to squeeze it. You gotta give
Yeah,
up
and we can
pressure
get
with
done.
Dr. Mike with the time again.
I know,
So-
no, because he definitely gets more time on that one.
Yeah.
There was one, from the student on the employee from. He's now a member of the transportation alternative advocacy committee. So he wants to talk about like the prolonging of unlimited free metro card tax.
So maybe, I think for him, maybe like just ask
Public
him to come
speaking?
do public speaking. That might be the
Okay.
best spot for it. Okay. So I think, yeah, then if anyone doesn't have anything else, I think leaving it at that, because I know that when he does the state of district, it does tend to be a longer presentation. So we're not gonna be able to say to him 20 minutes. It will definitely be longer than that. So I think let's just leave it like that for now. Before we talk about the resolution, I know a bunch of us met with our new face liaison on Zoom, but she is here today, so I wanted her to just get a chance to introduce herself.
Person, I'm replacing so there's been some internal switches, but guys.
One question came up earlier. Did you have any answers to any of the questions that you could send back to us?
Yes, so we do not anticipate are purely what is it? As I mentioned, it's a framework, so we know it's useful for anyone new, perhaps you know, someone in background at all, they use a framework to sort of gather information so they have to be without anything. And so it's not like a requirement.
Okay, perfect.
So you use whatever if you guys
Whatever's best.
Right.
Okay.
It sounds like you guys have, you know,
A good system,
relationships
yeah.
with your schools, and that if you feel like that's more productive too, how you determine which one are your five. Like, that's needed.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for her?
It's kind of difficult to catch what you said.
So we don't have to
Yeah.
submit those school visit forms.
Too much.
It's more of a guide for us,
Yeah.
but it's for you to use how you want.
Sorry.
What's up, Steven?
I sent over via email late. Egypt forwarded it over. I filled out just for ease of information. I filled out the school visit forms with photos for my October visit.
Yes, I saw that come over.
Just for when we have the conversation about improvements put forward.
Perfect. Yeah, I did see that come over. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna pause on the resolution and move to the SCA section for a second, just so everybody is aware. First of all, we did locate the email with last year's submissions, even though they told us that we did not submit. You're good. And we did just forward it back over to them while the meeting was going on. Egypt did send that back over. So we did submit projects last year and the year before. The year prior, none of the projects were chosen. Last year, we don't have feedback on because they claim they never got it, but it has been reset.
They never acknowledged receipt at the time. Okay. Right, so do we request that they acknowledge they received this information?
So we sent it to the CEC thing, and then I also forwarded it directly to Julie and Yvette to say, hey, we just sent this over. Here it is.
They kind of sound like there's a black hole that sucks in
It
information.
is a black
It
hole.
is. Not just last
For
year,
lack of a better
couple
word.
years when we tried, nothing was really done.
I would say because of the context of the way it was shared.
Yeah.
That it was not necessarily received, that you follow up. You continue to follow up.
Yeah,
as
no, I will
as a
continue
CEC
with that now.
You know,
So that's what
now
I
that
was
you
like-
received it, give us some feedback on whether or not there is a
So there was
sorry,
Mom.
revisiting
Yeah,
those things, that it doesn't impact this year's 5
Yeah,
elections, so that you're not then saying, all right,
Right.
this was last year's, but now here's another. You know what I mean?
Another.
So those are
Because I know
that was
we've
for last year's
submitted
work.
some of the same
Yeah.
schools year after year for the last few years.
So that's why I was continuously asking, how can we follow up? Because
And she didn't want to give an
you
answer.
Hmm?
So that was
there
our
was no
struggle.
answer from them.
She said we give a preliminary reply.
And yet they don't.
I was
They
like,
don't.
Give a second. No.
No.
That's why I was asking.
But
Exactly.
you did all receive a list here of the new requests for this year.
We've had a lot more come in, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was also sent digitally. So I would take a look at these after what we've heard today. Take a look at these, and next month we will vote on our 5 for us to submit. So make your top 5 list, bring it to the next meeting, and then we will vote on it. Doesn't have to be the school that you're assigned to. If you see something else that stands out to you, whatever it is, but come with your top 5 from that list, and then we will vote on that next meeting.
So Al had said that last year they found out the priority was like electrical, roofing,
Yeah.
boiler.
Which they never have told us before. That was news to me when he wrote that. I actually wrote that down.
Okay, is that in general, like, is that just district specific, or does it still apply for this year?
That's his information. I don't know in full detail. So I don't know the answer to that. But based on that, we can kind of use that as some information for us, knowledge. I know in past years, bathrooms have been a huge thing. So bathrooms have come up over and over again at multiple schools. So those are the things, but just make a list for yourself from this list of your top 5, and then we'll compare it, and then we'll see which schools are coming up over and over again so that we can kind of create a list, and then we'll vote on it. So that will be January specifically. So that's
Hey,
really
Eden, I had a quick,
what's up?
sorry, I had a quick question. For like 2 of the schools I visited, like they did not fill in the form but had those requests. Should I contact them to tell them to fill it out?
Yes, if they can get that into us ASAP, we will be voting in January.
Okay, cool.
We will definitely need that. So thank you. Okay, so now going back to the resolutions, I have a spelling error that I need to fix anyway in the title. Weakening. I have to look at what word I was trying to put here. But I sponsored this one. This was the one from District 26 that we talked about last week, and I did feel that it was important enough of a topic out of the 3 that he did bring to us that we could look into. I don't know if any of our schools are that close to any offhand, but I know that it is a very important topic. So I do have Angela and Stephen have graciously co-sponsored with me. If anyone else is interested, please let me know. But I wanted to bring this one up. If there's any questions, anyone wants to talk about it a little bit, and then we will vote on it at the next meeting if we agree to add that to the agenda. Trying to write there. I'm not sure what I was trying to write there in that title. Any weakening?
Weakening, maybe?
Weakening? I don't know what I was writing there. That was like a tired moment. I don't know.
Awakening. Awakening.
It
says oppose.
That doesn't make sense though.
Resolution opposing any.
Well, no, you don't want to weaken the district.
No.
So.
No, we're opposing them weakening it. So that is what it is. Okay.
Weakening.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's just the N and the G are in different.
Thank you. I'm like, I don't even know what I was trying to write.
It's okay.
Sponsor with an O.
Yep.
And marijuana with a J.
Oh my God. I was having an issue. That week was a very bad week for me. I will go through and fix that.
Oh, actually, the bill that they're citing has the J in the title. That's correct, actually.
The J or the H?
I believe the J is in the bill. I don't have it in front of me, but I remember I was like, is this a typo? And then I was like, no, that was right.
Okay, no, because we had an H in here, so I will fix that.
Gotcha.
I thought it was.
So does anybody have anything where they're completely against?
Thank you.
Is anyone completely against going forward with adding this to the agenda for a vote for next month? Is everybody okay with, is everybody okay with adding it to the agenda for a vote?
Yeah.
Okay. So we will vote on that next month as well. It's very hot in here. I'm dying.
Oh, thank God.
Okay. And then the other resolution topic I wanted to bring up, we had 3 copies, so I did pass 2 copies around. This other resolution that Al just brought up to us about the education councils, I know that our council, this year we happen to have a very full council for the most part, other than our D25 seat and somebody that's not here today, but we'll discuss that in a second. But the issue that we run into is previous years, we have not had a full council. And so we were constantly not meeting quorum. And it was becoming a problem where we're like, okay, we have to wait to vote. We have to wait to vote. We have to wait to vote. And we were like going crazy till we would get that. So I don't mind if somebody wants to take this one on, so that since I'm already working on the next one, if somebody would like to take this on, I am totally fine with us going about doing this. Stop, Emily. I'll look in a minute. If somebody would like to take on the task of working on this, I have no problem with us doing one for this, because I do think it is an important topic and it affects us and other councils. This year, it happens to not affect us as bad, but it has. So does somebody want to take that on other than me? I will pass one of the copies your way.
And I'll do co-sponsors with Christine.
Okay.
For that one.
So you and Shirley. She has a copy, so here. Angela, if you want to pass that down. Sure. Another new one. The Community Education Council one, we're gonna look at, we're working on for, bringing up for business meeting next time. Okay. With that being said, we aren't gonna vote on the absences today, but I will share the information that I have. Stephen did give notice. He was not feeling well. He didn't want to expose anyone knowing that we're going into the holiday season, so he is on Zoom. Fabiola is, I did not have any information to her prior to the meeting starting when I reached out to say, hey, are you coming? And she has shared that she couldn't be present. She forgot we had a meeting. She's just overwhelmed with work at school. She was in class, totally forgot about the meeting tonight. And she's going to be taking some time to think about what the right step is for her at this point. But we will vote on both those absences at the next meeting. So just keep those in the back of your mind. It is with an H. Thank you.
No, it's Jimmy.
No, but it's written from the thing as an H. Look.
Online? I don't know.
I do my research. Come on.
Thank you.
Oh, that's right.
So I just wanted to bring those up as what the two absences are, where we had notice and where we didn't, so that you could take that into account when we vote next month. With that being said, does anybody have anything else they want to bring up before we end?
I just want clarification. So when we put together our 5 top schools that we want to put forward to get work done,
hopefully.
So it will be only 5 in the end.
5
Total.
overall.
Oh my God.
We have to give our
You have
top
to
5 as a
prioritize.
council, which is why I want everybody to make their, like, even if you do your top 3, if you don't want to do top 5, make your top 3, and then we'll narrow it down from there.
So just so that you guys also know, and I can show this to you just really quickly so that you can see where it is. Every school,
The BCAS thing.
every school, and it's to make decisions as a team. Get away, Bar.
After Dr. Mike is done, if anyone wants to make a motion, please
Yes.
go right ahead.
Second.
We can go home. It is way too hot in here, so dying right now.
So on the DOE site, when you go to find a school, you would type in the school designation Q020, just as an example. Open up your
Actually,
school.
don't make the motion yet, because I do have one thing to go.
You go into reports. And then from reports, you'll see this whole drop down. You would go into facilities. And then you'll see this thing that says Building Condition Assessment Survey. The Building Condition Assessment Survey is going to give you a breakdown of what's going on in the school. So architectural, for example, it's going to give you a rundown of how the school was scored in a range of areas within this report. And you'll get numbers that we'll see. You see where it says instance condition? It says 3. It's hard to see because my screen is a little bit small, but it will give you a number. When you get to number 5, those are the spaces that you're looking for. Those are the ones that are most likely to be picked up by SEA to do. If you're putting something in there that's a level 3 according to the BCAS, it's very unlikely that the SEA will pick it up. They will look at the ones that are level 5. They will look at ones that are level 4. But when you're prioritizing, those are the ones that you want to prioritize in terms of at least the selection. I know that we haven't necessarily been too lucky with it, but just so you know, that's where you find it. Okay.
So just so going back with that also really quick, just so everyone knows what we did submit last year, I do have that in front of me, was 193, their bathroom issue, which that's a thing that we're kind of dealing with. PS 21, an auditorium upgrade. PS 214, student bathroom upgrade. 24, refurbishment of the old wing bathrooms across the building. And 154, roof, exterior masonry, parapets, heating plant upgrade, and cafeteria floor. Those were our 5 last year. Some of those will be on this list again, as you see. So think about that also. I could send that out to everyone.
So what about, I mean, the list, right? It's going to be, does it include this minimal repair? Or are we talking about the big,
You want the big ones.
big ones?
The big ones, your level fives and your level fours are the ones that you want to prioritize. They're not going to look at your level threes.
What about like in-store stop sign? Are those part of the capital improvements? In the request they in-store in
Like stop signs on a corner?
Oh, so yeah, I mean, that's not necessarily a
it's a
school
different
facility
route,
scenario.
yeah.
So that involves DOT, it involves, the, oh my goodness.
how can we help that?
Crossing
So, the environmental space to make sure that they do all kinds of surveys to make sure that they're looking at traffic patterns and such.
Yeah.
So local elected officials are really big in that. They've supported, in fact, the students at 120 did a whole presentation.
Okay.
Students were actually outside every morning tracking traffic patterns so that they could present to the local elected officials what was going on. They haven't heard back yet, but they're going to continue to push forward to try to get
You
one.
say local, you mean city or state?
Senator Liu has been really, really supportive of our work, and he helped us get a traffic light at 22.
Yeah.
So he was really helpful. Council members really helpful inside of that space. So just the continuous outreach to them to see if DOT can make a change. Sometimes just based on code, they can't, and they'll at least be able to tell you that they can't. But that's
One
really
more question with that. Going alongside with that, what about the fact of like when schools have school crossing guards at a corner and then suddenly they disappear on one of the busiest corners, and now these kids are crossing the street with no crossing guard? How do we do that? Because like I know I called 311. They told me call the precinct. The school's been reporting it. So there's like this coming up, and like it happens to be the worst corner is the one that has nobody sometimes most days now, and the corner that's not as bad has somebody.
I mean, listen, advocating for, for additional is really the answer to that. It's not
How do
like
we go? Is
so
there somebody
that is
specific we go to
PD.
that?
Yeah, PD, it's their crossing guards are from the NYPD.
So
They
the
do
precinct,
offer, I mean,
possibly.
unfortunately, they do have hiring with frequency around that. Unfortunately, you just never know whether or not you're going to be stationed given space. You might try to do it as a parent. Some parents have actually tried to become crossing guards, and then you just never know whether or not you're going to be
Yeah, the
serving in an area.
president office asked me, whether you guys need help with installing the.
Oh, yeah, if
PS29, I mean, she asked me about it, so.
if the borough president can do and offer some support, I'm sure the school would love that.
She's asking, what do we suggest?
All of the things when it comes to traffic patterns is all DOT. So it's whether or not they have to come and survey, they're going to check this traffic patterns.
Yeah.
And whether or not it's feasible to put it. Those go way outside of anything that the school can do themselves other than make the request. But support from the borough president wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
In that way.
I'm trying to,
But he definitely has connections with the Department of Transportation and folks that are there to see whether or not the feasibility study actually supports
Sure.
having another traffic sign or what have you to be posted there.
Okay.
Okay.
What is the other school that had the same question?
BS 120. Yeah.
Logistics question for how we pick these 5 schools. Could we just is there a bracket? Is there like?
We talk about it.
So we'll talk
Where
about
we-
it
where
once we
we
come back.
visit,
That's why I
we
said
talk about
prioritize in your mind what your top ones would be, and then when you come back, we'll kind of do that discussion, and then we'll vote as a group.
Sounds like it's gonna be a long.
Well, if I hear the
Usually
same
not bad.
school over and over again,
No.
that kind of makes it a little easier because then we know like, okay, this is more of a priority to multiple people, and it kind of becomes like, okay, that's obviously going to be up near the top of our
It's
list.
usually not that bad because there are going to be some that just stand out in terms of need. And typically in the experiences, the agreement has really not been
It
difficult.
hasn't been bad.
because
We do
Some of
like,
them are just like, yeah, that if there's a school that needs something, it would be them because it's usually not so bad. It might, we
I know
got a lot of
some that
them
stood
here,
out to
so
me
maybe,
already,
I don't
so.
know, we'll see, but usually it hasn't been that bad.
Like 60 responses.
we didn't have that many originally, so like they kind of just suddenly.
Well, we did receive a little bit of feedback that they hadn't gotten to you yet, so there might have been a little bit of nudging that happened to some of our schools to please fill them out. And then they started being flooded in as I have
All at
all of the
once.
emails that come back to you guys from the principal, so I saw a bunch of them happening after that. Yeah.
We could do a bracket, like 60 projects.
And we can only choose 5 of those.
Yeah.
So, anybody have any other questions before we look for somebody to make a motion? Because I would love to. I got Shirley and Shauna, and it is 9:27. That was my goal before 9:30.
So guys, if I don't see you, I wish all of you a very, very happy holiday season. Please enjoy your families.
Got a birthday and then Hanukkah the next day.
Enjoy.
Egypt, you got that. It was Shirley and Shauna, right? Okay, thank you.
I love this.
Yes, I will sign for you right now.
Army of interpreters.
Good, that's good.
No, it's really good.
So
Fantastic.
many languages.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, you're doing your business.